Welcome from Silicon Beach. We are actually in Silicon Beach. We are on Venice Erwin Hotel with Espree. Hello, Espree. So it's going to be an amazing show as always. Thank you, Red Bull, for sponsoring this. Yeah. I don't know if I can. Do you know if we can actually drink them? I don't know. Is it prop? Is it actually?
I think
Red
we
Bull?
can't function if we don't drink Red Bull.
Nice. Perfect. You heard it right here. So thanks a lot for being here in this amazing location in these super crazy and stressful times. How are you doing? How's everything?
Oh my gosh, this week has been one of the best weeks in years. It's been so abundant and exciting, and I'm so grateful to be here. And I mean, it's amazing what you're putting together, and just to be a part of community in so many ways. It's a good time. And I'm not just saying that because we all have good and bad times, but this particular week is magical.
Yeah, you told me you've been to the Red Bull room, and for those that don't know, I didn't know that this is actually called the Red Bull room.
Yeah.
So you've been here before. Can you tell us a little bit more about the room?
Sure. Well, I produced several. I owned action sports company. I built the first action sports social network, and so we produced a lot of events in the Red Bull room, a lot of panels with thought leaders in the action sports space. And I love Red Bull as a brand. I've spoken at their basement program to empower the youth to build tech companies, and flown to Canada to meet with Red Bull, done Red Bull in Santa Monica. Soon I'll be educating Red Bull in their podcast room. So it's pretty exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit. How did you start with startups? So how did you end up doing startups instead of finding a business, in corporate, working in a bank or whatever?
Sure. My dad was an early adopter, so he had all the technology right when it came out. And so I was just exposed to technology. Got my first computer, and I would play in the chat rooms and this and that. And so it was just a natural pathway. My three passions were travel, technology, and action sports. And so I wanted to create something where I could bring all my worlds together. And that's what led later as I, got out of being 12, 13, 14, creating the first action sports social network.
Wow.
It's really exciting.
When was that? Was it 2010, 12?
Oh my God, it feels like all the years are all together. Everything in social media has been this like non-existing to, like, the term social media wasn't even a thing. And then there was Friendster and MySpace and Facebook and then Twitter and all these things. And now we're moving to audio technology. And, it's not that podcasting has been around for a long time. I created the WeAreLATech podcast in 2013 and it aired in 2014. So podcasting has been around a long time, but like before even it got mainstream like it is today, we just didn't have the technology to absorb podcasting the way we did. And I feel the hype of podcasting is leading to actually digital communities focusing on audio experience rather than on, writing a tweet. And so, did you see that Twitter just launched,
of course,
their audio experience? So it's been very, very exciting to be a part of the audio ecosystem in our world.
And it's very strange how we went from text to video and then audio. Like, it's very strange how we did this path. Like, for me, I never thought like, hey, why would I be listening to an hour-long audio books or podcast? Like, this doesn't make any sense. I'm mostly a visually person.
Right.
So why do I do this? And I do.
Yeah.
And I think it has to do mostly with the community. Like, there is a huge community around audiobooks and podcasts where you're like, I'm going to listen to this episode and I'm going to be connected somehow with these people. And I don't understand yet.
Totally.
I cannot comprehend how you create this thing. And this is one of the most important things that I want to ask you. Everything that you've done involves around community. Like, you have a huge following around We Are Los Angeles Tech, LA Tech, huge community around the podcast about women in tech.
Yeah.
How somebody that wants to build a community, how can they start?
Caring.
Yeah, and starting the community, like,
caring, like literally caring. That I find, especially in the pandemic, I find it very comical that a lot of companies are like, oh, what are we going to do? We should start caring. I'm like, why weren't you caring before? Caring isn't a marketing tactic. Caring is something in your core. And I think the way you create community is you start by genuinely caring. Like, I don't care whether someone's a janitor, doesn't have a job, or and I also don't give extra clout to someone who has sold their company for billions. Everyone's just a human. What I care about is integrity and heart. And I think it just all comes from a place of genuinely caring and then understanding how to manage your time well, how to create experience. I think experience is a vital component in being able to create community. A community needs to have a leader, and that's something I learned the hard way. I don't see there being an ego in community. I see in community, it's a whole bunch of people connecting together, and one person, a lot of times me, facilitates that connection. But I wish it didn't need the person. I wish community could just do its own thing. But it seems community to move forward and to elevate seems to need somebody at the forefront, making the moves, making things happen, making decisions. And I take on that responsibility.
And how did you start building the community? I assume because the issue is that whenever I talk with someone, like, you have to build a community, you have to be the following. They tell me, hey, if I had a lot of money, I will start putting ads and I will have tons of people.
And that wouldn't do anything. I mean, what is it?
Work.
Quibi even had zillions of dollars and is no more. Yeah.
So it's actually caring and recognizing that you have to start super small and it will grow after some time. These things cannot happen magically. Yeah. And did this happen with you?
Sure. So when building the first Action Sports social network, that was a community, right? So that's the first time I got to understand how a community likes to be spoken to. There's a very specific way about not bucketing everybody together. Like in the Los Angeles tech community, just because someone may be in e-commerce, someone else may be in med tech, and that's two different worlds, right? So I understood about really understanding the categories within the community. But then in 2012, when I launched the first iteration of WeAreLATech, the inspiration behind it was in building my company and being the first female to raise money for an action sports tech company. I went through a lot of isolating moments and I didn't know who to trust, but I deserved to win. So every single speech that I attended as a guest to, be inspired by the speakers, every time I hired a consultant, I was like desperately like hoping these people would care about me so that I could win, and I deserved to win. I worked hard. I had the right passion, the right heart. And unfortunately, a lot of times people are out for their own agendas. Yeah. And so I wanted to create a collaborative space where people felt safe with one another. And the culture of the space was to support and accelerate one another.
And that brings us to my favorite next subject, haters.
Skaters?
Haters, not skaters. Like people that hate.
Oh,
like,
haters.
Yeah,
yes.
It's my Greek accent.
Look at you and your Greek accent.
Skaters.
I'm like, I could talk about skaters. I love skaters.
Yeah, you had something with the famous skaters.
Oh, Tony Hawk.
Yeah, Tony Hawk. Yeah,
he's always been an inspiration. I think he's an amazing business person and athlete and human. Yeah.
But what about haters? People that actually hate.
So it's really scary. I actually just had a meeting a couple days ago with this actor named Pearson, who's awesome. He's doing a movie with Kevin Hart right now. And I was asking about that. I'm so grateful he invested time into speaking to me. And I said, how do you deal with the haters? You're so famous. He played a character named Jesse on a popular TV show. And he was giving me tips on dealing with haters. I think it's hard. I'm a very emotional, passionate, sensitive person. And so the hate scares me. And so he was giving me suggestions like to really be confident in who I am and my purpose. Arlen Hamilton gave me amazing advice. Arlen Hamilton is an investor with Backstage Capital in Los Angeles. And she said, I only listen to the people I respect. Like why listen to just a bunch of people at random. Yeah. And then she said something really funny. She said, everybody needs a job, so I'm not going to take away the job of the hater. Right? Oh, yeah. I thought that was awesome. But I think it's the more and more I become, so I'm very confident in my purpose. So the more and more I understand that no matter what happens day to day, it's about serving my purpose, then it doesn't matter. Like, yes, it could hurt, but the resilience I need to build, because it's not about the one hater. It's about serving the larger community and living a purposeful life.
And if you want to do something successful, you have to accept that you will have haters.
I'm still hoping that I could live in a utopian place where I have no haters. But after I became the face of Clubhouse last night, I'm like, oh my gosh, please no one be upset at me for that. Like, I've received so many messages today about it. So it's scary to evolve as a thought leader and a personality in the space. But I really, really just want to create this collaborative environment for as many people as possible so that we could all accelerate together.
Of course. But sadly, we will always have people that are trying to, for their own reasons, drag us down.
Well, Giannis, don't put it out there. I'm manifesting all positivity over here.
But that's the interesting thing.
Am I saying your name right? Giannis.
Yeah,
okay,
Giannis.
okay,
Cool.
Cool.
So that's the interesting thing. I like that, and I'm a very positive person, but I have a strange fascination with, I'm also a drama queen, like a huge drama queen. I don't know why. So I have a strange fascination with people that are negative, and I'm trying to figure out why they don't want to build something and they just want to criticize. So for the last, couple of months, my COVID-19 hobby was reading about super fans. People
I thought you were going to say he was reading about haters.
No. that would be terrible during the COVID. Yeah, very, very negative. So I was reading about super fans and how you can create a community of, people that love your mission, love what you're doing. And I think mostly of 60% of what I was reading about was about people that were hating what you're doing. And I was like, why? You should focus on the people that they love what you're doing. Surprisingly, though, is that if you cannot manage the negativity, you won't be able to serve your purpose. And I've seen so many actors and actresses here in Los Angeles, the moment they have a little bit of negativity, they shut down immediately.
It's so hard. I mean, they say that a lot of people, after they've acquired an abundance of wealth and success in their career, they feel really lost because they don't have a purpose, and they realize it's become so clear that they don't have a purpose. And I joke that I say I found my purpose first and everything else will come after. And so that's where I'm really focusing my attention now, is how do I build that level of resilience to make sure I just stay focused on my purpose, and how do I not get caught up in anything. I don't think I'm really the type of person to get caught up in hype. I don't even desire fame. I just really, on such a fundamental level, desire to elevate others.
Yeah. What about women in Los Angeles? What do you think?
They're super cool people.
They're super cool. I was in San Francisco, and when I moved...
I saw you had Mickey on the show.
Yeah. She's amazing.
Yeah.
I think she's going live probably next week or something like that.
She's such an amazing human being.
Like, it's so powerful. And that's the thing that I've seen when I came to Los Angeles. It's the difference from San Francisco. San Francisco is a little bit strange, like as most of the United States, of course. But Los Angeles... women seem empowered. They are empowered. Yeah. They build stuff. They don't have any issue like going there and, demanding what they should demand. Do you think that it's because of technology? Do you think why? What is happening here?
I have not surveyed all the women in Los Angeles, but I'm very happy that they're doing so well and they're strong. Girl boss.
At least they're fighting back. They are trying. So that's the important thing.
I think as long as we all, men, women, everybody stays focused on being their best selves and surpassing self-limiting beliefs. I think that a lot of times self-limiting beliefs hold us back. And if we just suspend belief for a minute and think anything is possible and then take action in that way, I think it will create so much more opportunity for all of us.
Yeah. What would you say to somebody that wants to start a new company and they are obsessed with getting VC funding? Like they will never start a company unless they get tons of money thrown at them at their face.
Sure. Well, it all depends what kind of company you have. If you have, so a blog company used to be called like a lifestyle business, but I think there's so much more. I think when you think about company, you want to think about the lifestyle you want to have and the kind of responsibility. I remember when I was doing business at Google and I was walking on their campus, and it's so vast. I'm like, man, like 2 guys own this thing. Like that's so much responsibility, I don't want that level of a company. I like our company is a really family, small feeling, and that's an intentional thing. So when thinking about venture capital, I've raised money. I'm so lucky that I had the most beautiful investors, not in this company, in my past companies. Like I think about what kind of lifestyle do I want? Angel investment is different than VC investment, is different than not raising, is different. Like there's all contribution model, nonprofit, all these things. They're all different lifestyles for the founder and the executive team. So what I think about first is what is the lifestyle I want for my company? And I think kind of understanding that word lifestyle business is no longer just about having a blog. It can be like a legit business. Jason Fried, one of my favorite entrepreneurs who founded Basecamp, he says you can't go into a bakery and just take a cupcake. The bakery won't exist. You have to pay for it. So I always think about that. He also says people do business with humans. Businesses don't do business with people. People do business with people. And those are two methodologies I'm like always thinking about when I'm thinking about the lifestyle and operations of my business.
Do you have an opinion about the angel investors in Los Angeles? We had a lot of people here as investors, as startuppers, and we had mixed results as always, of course.
Yeah.
So we had people saying that the angels, Los Angeles are different from San Francisco, obviously. Obviously. So I would definitely like to hear your opinion.
Well, the word around the block, I don't have a personal opinion, but the word around the block is that the investors here aren't as big of risk takers, which I find interesting. And they probably lean still towards film rather than more hardcore tech companies. I mean, listen, Silicon Valley is just known for that. That is their ecosystem. It defines the whole city. And so I think we're just finding our way. We're still, we're not in infancy anymore. We're one of the top startup cities in the world, but we're still finding our way of what that means to us. I think Leonardo DiCaprio is going to make amazing moves after the pandemic to deal with, climate change. There's going to be so many great things Los Angeles can be known for outside of just being known for Hollywood in the tech space.
Have you ever tried surfing? And I'll tell you in a bit. And how was did you do it when you moved here? How?
So I'm actually from here.
You're actually from Los Angeles.
I'm real. I'm not an alien. I'm born and raised LA. Yeah. We're all very nice people. And so yeah, I've tried surfing. I don't remember the first. I think I tried. My friend took me surfing in Malibu once, and then I surfed in Costa Rica. I've surfed in a lot of. I surfed in Indonesia last year. Yeah, but I'm not a surfer. But
so it's the new trend. Whoever moves from San Francisco here.
Oh, they have to take up surfing. I'm sure. It's like we think. It's watching movies. That's what LA is. It's fine, but yeah.
And that's an interesting thing. Los Angeles is the only city where here we create a story. It's not just, a product. They create a whole story behind it.
Yeah.
Probably because it's Hollywood. You know how to create interesting stories that are captivating and the audience is there. And I've seen many people moving from San Francisco. And this is the last time I'm going to mention San Francisco, of course.
Hey, listen, I'm a firm believer in collaboration. We can mention them as much as you'd like.
So that is the interesting thing. People move from San Francisco here and immediately they see the difference. Maybe it's not high tech, big tech, deep tech like San Francisco, but the B2C products, the consumer products are amazing. Like the story, the marketing. And that's what I like about your story. It's like B2C products and communities built and scaled super fast. And it's very interesting without VC funding. If you have raised, 100 million, I would be okay, probably you could spend some money in marketing. But doing this from the community, it's amazing and very powerful.
Well, I think it goes back to, I was mentioning Jason Fried, who's not an LA entrepreneur, but I just really admire him. And the way he was able to catapult his businesses and the way a lot of business, there's an amazing entrepreneur, Nick Frost in Los Angeles, and he's a firm believer of emails and newsletters, but not just emails and newsletters, but really high quality engagement with your fan base, with your audience. So it means you could start right now listening to the show. You have an idea. You don't have a company. You don't know what you're going to do. You just have an idea. The very first step is start creating that audience. Start creating a newsletter. You could use Substack, you can use Aweber, you could use MailChimp, whatever it is. Ask 10 of your friends to sign up. I mean, Product Hunt, Ryan Hoover, who actually does live in Los Angeles now, San Francisco startup, Product Hunt, huge company. They started by just sending around his favorite, tool discoveries to a list. There's so many great entrepreneurs that started with an email list. So it is about that story sharing. People ask me, what's the most effective marketing? It's to share your journey.
Yeah, and what you said is very important because you don't need to be an engineer, to be a developer. As you said, go to Substack. There's a ton of other companies there. We can start a newsletter, write something interesting that you believe in, and start moving it around.
And then you start to aggregate your audience, and then your audience wants to pay attention to what you're doing. And then when you sell a product, people don't buy a product, they buy an experience. And so they're either buying a solution to a pain point and you're offering that solution, they're buying the experience, they're buying how they feel, right? They're not you don't buy something at Nordstrom's because you want to go into Nordstrom's. You buy something from Nordstrom's because of what it stands for. And so every company i.e. Red Bull. How does Red Bull make you feel, right? It's like Red Bull gives you wings.
Yeah.
And so, and for me, I know Red Bull on such a deeper level. I know the Red Bull team. They have amazing work culture. I've been to Red Bull Austria. I've like experienced the culture of Red Bull behind the scenes as well. And it's so what they do for the community from an educational standpoint. So that why I'm sharing this is when you're thinking about like what company you want to, don't think about the hammer that you want to build. Think about what the hammer stands for, the lifestyle around the hammer, like the culture of the hammer, like everything around it. You don't just think I'm going to sell an energy drink. Yeah.
And what is the next step? Let's say I started my Substack. I keep writing interesting thing about, I don't know, Los Angeles, let's say, and I have 1,000 people like reading. Every time I post, people read. Yeah. What is the next step that you can do in order, to monetize this or to grow it?
Sure. After you build up your audience, I mean, I just gave somebody this suggestion yesterday, and I just want to be really clear. I don't know what's right or what's wrong for you.
Yeah, of course.
To the audience, not just you, to them. Like, I don't know what's right or wrong for you. I only know my own journey. I think one of the most important things I learned in my journey is to trust your intuition. Your intuition is your oracle. So whatever I say, it's not right or wrong. You have to feel out what's right for you. That being said, when you build up an audience, one path to do is, and even before you build an audience, let's say you have the hammer item right now, just reach out to 10 of your friends, see if they'll buy it, see what questions they have. Pre-sell. Don't wait and build. But it all depends on the type of company you have, right? Mm-hmm. If you have a med tech company, you're probably going to need to raise money because science, it takes a lot. Yeah. So it just depends what kind of company you have. But every single company, you could start a community today. And just remember, authenticity and caring needs to be at the foundation of that community, or else it's built on nothingness.
What about mentors? Did you have any mentors? Do you believe in mentors?
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking about one of my mentors yesterday. I had this one-on-one call with a community member, and she asked me about my high school teachers. And I had this teacher named Montserrat Fontes, and she's amazing. She's an author, and she's just amazing. And she called me press kit. And she would force me to call movie companies and get press kits. And I was so afraid and insecure, but I would do it. And so she taught me how to be resilient. She taught me how to take chances when I was afraid. And she's amazing. So I think about Montserrat Fontes often. My mom is like a woman who invents her own path. And so I see that as an example of like, okay, if my mom could do it, I can create my own path too. She just defies being defined, and that really inspires me, because I think as a society, sometimes we put ourselves in boxes. I have to do this by this time, or I have to look this way, or, all these different things. Like I believe in what is my true self, and then being really confident in what that is and what decisions that come with, as long as you're not hurting anyone. A book that really inspired me is The Alchemist, that I read early on. And if you believe in something with all your heart and soul, and you have love behind it, the whole universe will conspire to make that possible. And so as long as you're doing things with love, there is opportunity.
What about books? Any favorite? You already mentioned
Alchemist,
it. Yeah. Do you have any favorite books that are very good for community building, companies, something like that?
I mean, so a couple controversial guys, I wouldn't say community building or company specifically, but a couple, I have to say my mom's book, The Executive Memory Guide, or my mom would be like, you didn't mention my book. So, okay, Mom, I love you, The Executive Memory Guide. But the two authors that I'm always just really wowed by, and yes, I know it's controversial and whatever, but I love Ryan Holiday and I love Tucker Max. They're just really fantastic authors.
And what is your regime? So when you wake up in the morning, and you'll see in a bit where I'm trying to get to. Yeah. So you wake up, you do your thing. Do you read a book? Do you listen to an audio book or podcast?
So it just really, no, none of those things. But it does depend. Like right now I'm in a very not taking care of my self-care state, because I've been really immersed in the Clubhouse community. So I haven't been sleeping much at all, but on a day where I'm taking care of myself, usually my ideal schedule, and I have it actually written in an app. I think it's called Strides app. I can't remember. It's on my phone, but I have it all written out that I'd like to start my day with a meditation to Headspace, which is now an LA company as well. So start my day to Headspace, and then get a workout in, drink water, preferably with lemon, and then come back, shower, like really be mindful of the day, maybe do some visioning, like some like really thinking about it. I hear a lot of athletes do that. I might put in a podcast. There's this amazing company called FocusMate, which is virtual co-working. So inexpensive. First of all, they have like free, like most of it is free, but if you want unlimited, it's $5. It's like a no-brainer, $5 a month. And I choose work blocks, depending on my goals. So I have this dry erase board where I write my like 5 goals down for the day, and then I choose a FocusMate session for each work block. And and then I have my accountability coach, who is awesome because he's so patient, Rob. And so I have that through Coach Me. So I'll write Rob like what my intention is for the day. So I have accountability there. And I don't have it on lock yet. And I definitely like weeks like now where there's just so many exciting things going on. I definitely don't sleep as much and take care of myself as much as I'd like, but that is my ideal schedule when I'm in it. And I think even exercise can be as easy as jumping rope. And there's a park by my house, jump rope. And if we all just start jumping rope, we'd all get rid of the pandemic 15. So it's really not that hard. We just have to do it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And how did you build these habits?
So I'm really, speaking of books, actually, I can't believe I didn't bring it up. In December of last year, I read James Clear, Atomic Habits. It changed my life. And so really, I've just been studying Atomic Habits by James Clear. He has a virtual course as well, and been studying that as much as possible. And he teaches things like just set 2 minutes. So let's say I want to start like doing the dishes every day. So instead of doing all the dishes, just do the dishes for 2 minutes. And then I could stop after 2 minutes if I want. And you start to build the habit, and you could stack on top of that habit. You correlate things. So maybe next to doing the dishes is exercise, and okay, every time I do the dishes, then I'm gonna you attach them. So he teaches all these tactics that seem really simple, but for some reason the way he communicated it just really clicked for me, and so I'm continuously studying that in order to get better at habits.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And I want to say that the reason that we're doing the podcast is because I'm trying to talk with interesting people and try to identify what makes them so special. So that's why I'm doing all the questions. What do you do in the morning? How you create all these habits? Because every single entrepreneur that we talk to, they have different things that they are very interesting. Like every single one of them, like some people love doing ice baths. Like
I've done so many of those. They're fun.
Yeah, I started now going to the Wim Hof cold.
Super trendy.
It's super fun. Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out what makes people tick, how they make consistent results. So,
I think when I share the couple things that if I knew then what I know now kind of things, 100% follow up. And luckily I'm not an elitist person. So like for me, as many people as I could possibly fit into my time matter. But I do notice a lot of people, I sometimes call name tag people. Like they only want to talk to you if you're the right status or they can get something from you. Don't name tag people. Just care at the foundation, and then follow up with all those people. Like don't just decide who's worth it. Like just be a person who follows up with a genuine, authentic value. And then the other one is workflows. Operational workflows. When we're these creative go-getters, we're just like do, and then it's years later and everything's a mess. And so the way to have the most profitable business and really understand what's broken within your company is to have very clear workflows, and that's how you could systematize. It's how you save money. And when I use the word systematize, I don't mean be any less like genuinely engaging. I just mean certain things, like let's take the simple thing like scheduling. I use Calendly, right? Why am I going to schedule back and forth 15 times? Just have my calendar on Calendly. They have the link. Person chooses the link. It's done, right? So just thinking about that with even all my podcast guests, when I travel around the world for the Women in Tech podcast and I show up, I create a Calendly thing. I have the times, I have the location, and everything's just said and done. And I have one for each country that I go to, right? Or each city within the country that I go to, right? And so, just systems, workflows is like, that's where the attention should be early on.
What is the application that you use every day? And it's free, and it's also free.
My notepad on my iPhone. I use that. pretty much every day. What else do I use every day? I try not to use social media every day. I'm pretty successful. I actually, social isn't my favorite thing in the world. So, but yeah, my notepad on my iPhone.
So you take notes whenever an idea comes?
Ideally, I'd love to use Headspace every day. I don't like that I don't use Headspace every day. Yeah.
And about the note-taking, how is your process? Like, you have an idea, you write it down, and you review them every day, week, or never?
No, it's more just like...
a flow.
Yeah, like a 1 zillion things happening, and they're completely disorganized. Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I read that Tim Ferriss has a very interesting concept. Like, he writes down all the ideas, and then after 1 week, he goes back and reviews it again. Yeah. And after a month, he goes and reviews it again. I think it's too much work, but yeah.
But it's his jam. That's the thing, is that we all have our own jam. Early on in my career, it's funny you brought up Tim Ferriss. I idolized Tim Ferriss and Richard Branson. And what I've learned over the years is, like, I just want to be me. Like, what is my special secret sauce for myself, right? And so we don't need to try to be someone else. We need to become more and more confident in our own story.
Yeah, and it's not only difficult becoming someone else, it's also boring. Yeah. Like, why you want to become someone else? Like, you're already awesome.
No, Richard Branson looks like he lives a pretty dope life.
With the exception, if you can be someone else, be Richard Branson. That's the exception, So let me ask you something that it might require a little bit of thinking. Let's say you wake up tomorrow and it's 3020. How do you imagine yourself?
3020.
Oh, yeah.
It's funny because I don't really think about the future. I don't even, that whole question, where will you be in 5 years? I really, this is really, I just want to be living in a state of inner peace as often as possible. People say, people are always searching for happiness. I'm not searching for happiness. I believe, like, we ebb and flow, and I want to embrace that in myself. Some days I'm going to be happy. Like this week is just, like I was been saying, is just magic and abundance. And then some days are going to be really bad. And I'm so grateful for my amazing friends like Tesha and Lisa and Cam and everybody who supports me when I barely can get out of bed, So we have both. But being in a state of inner peace and loving myself regardless of that kind of day I'm having, I think that's what's important. And I've had a very difficult journey learning how to love myself. And so loving myself, even when I'm having those hard moments where I'm not jumping rope and having a hard time getting out of bed, and maybe I'm being super insecure or something, and just being like, it's okay, you're human. Yeah. That's where I want to be in 3020 or whatever it is. I want to enjoy what's happening on the inside of my body and mind.
What is your favorite pickup? Like, you are very down, you're like, I don't want to do anything today. What is the thing that you'll do and you'll be like, I'm back in business? That's it.
Well, I believe, and everybody's going to find this so boring, but I mean, exercise releases drugs in our head, legitimately. So sometimes I have this joke that I do on my Instagram stories that says, give me them legal drugs, right? And so the most accurate thing to do for anyone feeling down is just go exercise, because literally drugs will be released from our brains naturally. So I think that's the best thing. I mean, I'm just so lucky that I have extraordinary friends that love me unconditionally. But even with extraordinary friends, no one can make me happy except for me. And so they could say a whole bunch of stuff, but I'm not actually going to feel ease until I, within myself, know how to come to a state of ease.
And how do you come to this state? How do you prepare yourself to know that, I don't need the validation, the outside validation. I don't care what you're talking about. As long as I'm feeling happy, I don't fucking care. How did you make yourself be that amazing? Because that's a very difficult target.
Thank you. No, I'm still in the journey. Like, I haven't arrived. Like, I have a lot of pain in my life. And when the empowering thing about pain is pain serves becoming a more compassionate person. And I'm learning it's not just about being compassionate for others, it's about being compassionate for myself too.
I think the ancient Greeks, again, I'm putting Greeks in the conversation.
I love Greece, by the way.
Have you ever been to Greece?
Yeah.
Was it a long time ago?
I think it was 2 years ago or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah. There's a huge startup community that definitely is going to be watching right now. Yeah. Like, John again mentioned Greece for 50th time, like whatever.
So I celebrated Women in Tech in Greece. Yeah. And
what?
Yeah. So it's another story for another time, but I want to go back to Greece because there were so many phenomenal entrepreneurs that I need to go back to interview all of them.
Of course, yeah. Definitely let me know. Like, we know everybody in the Greek tech community, and it's huge at this moment.
Yeah, it is huge.
So let me know.
Very exciting what's going on there.
Oh yeah. Very interesting. And I forgot what I want to say about. No, I remember. Greeks were saying that you should try to put yourself in pain-inflicting situations. So when the pain will be inflicted externally, you know how to control it.
I hear that too. I mean, let's just be clear, universe, I would like no more pain. I'm good. But yes, I hear that too, that sometimes people do put themselves through that as almost a hack. One of my mentors, Iman, he's amazing, absolutely amazing. And he talks about how psychologically visioning like the worst thing that could happen to prepare yourself for it and going through the motions so that you could train yourself so when something does happen, you actually handle it really well.
It's a cold bath. You take the cold bath,
totally.
you're like, it cannot get any worse than this.
Totally.
Yeah. Another question. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me anything because all the time I'll keep talking and I never let the other person talk and express.
No, it's okay. This is so fun. I don't mind.
So I wanted to ask you, you were born in LA, you saw how LA, the tech scene, started from whatever it was, and how now it's thriving with all these companies coming here and building offices. What is next? Do you believe that people automatically will start leaving Los Angeles and go to...
So it's interesting with the pandemic. I do think there's an amazing opportunity happening in Los Angeles where right now it seems like there's this mass exodus of LA because what my friends are calling it, all the amenities are gone. So I'm not a partier, so I'm like, I don't know what amenities. I'm just working away. But I do think because it's less expensive than New York and San Francisco, and it's by the beach. And again, I can't say enough good things about Leonardo DiCaprio and what he'll be doing for the LA tech community when it comes to saving our world, literally. So I think that it's obvious that people would want to move here and be a part of it because of the culture that we have and everything going on. I think it's just a matter of time for the pandemic to clear and we are all a healed society, and then LA is going to experience another boom, I believe.
Do you miss the events where you meet people and you can actually touch them and high five and everything?
So most people don't know, my friends know, that I'm highly introverted, so I don't miss the events. I've produced over 400 events for the tech community, and it is very draining. I'm incredibly good at it, but I need to go lock myself up for weeks after each one. So yeah, for me, I've up until the pandemic, I'd been running WeAreLATech since 2012, producing all those events from skydiving, clay pigeon shooting, all these things. I did the Reflections gatherings to celebrate women in tech in the Los Angeles community, and it just went on. And then I traveled to I think it was 100 countries in the last 4 or 5 years, like back to back to back. So between Los Angeles and the global women in tech community, I was tired. And I remember being in the UK, it was July of last year, and I was already tired, so tired. And I got asked to go to Kazakhstan to do my podcast live in Kazakhstan, and then from there I got asked to go to an accelerator in Lithuania, and it just kept going, right? And then I had the blessing of working with Red Bull in Canada, and then I got back to LA, and then I had the trip scheduled. I got selected to do the Women in Tech podcast live in South by Southwest. And I was being flown to Dubai to speak at a conference there. And Shopify was having me speak in Canada as well. Like all these things. I'm also keynoting an event with Richard Branson, right? All these tremendous things, but I was exhausted. And so when the pandemic happened and pretty much all trips got canceled, I'm like, okay.
Staying at home for a bit.
And I've been like that. I'm still not done recovering. And so I've needed to just decompress. And it hasn't been easy. I know this has been really different for all of us. I mean, it's this morning I woke up to a message with one of my good friends has COVID. So this has been really difficult in all different ways. Then I hear a lot of people are having a lot of abundance. There's the angle of having a lot of clearing and resetting life. There's so many different positions and approaches we could perceive what's happening in the world and what is actually happening in the world. But for me, as an introverted person who's given a lot of themselves for several years and been really extroverted, I was tired. And so for me, I needed to lock myself in my place and just be quiet and alone and just Yeah. And I'm just like working away on the computer.
Did you have any moment in your life where it was pivotal, that everything changed after that moment? Maybe you changed or conditions changed?
I think it's going to be November 17th.
What's happening?
I told you,
I
told you off the record before we started recording, like I had 5 humongous deals all happen on November 17th, 2020. Like, I'm just like, what? Like, that is my new like anniversary of some good news, you know? Like, so I don't know. I feel like November 17th is the day that everything changes.
And this, of course, happened through hard work. It wasn't like randomly.
All my friends are like, you're the like overnight success that took like a decade. You know what I mean? It's just, it's hard. I deserve to win. Yeah. Of course.
Has it ever been a time when you're like, okay, this is it, I'm done, I cannot do this anymore?
Every other day. Oh. You know, like it's really hard to build community. And it's being an entrepreneur, it's not glamorous like the HBO show. It's very taxing and takes a lot out of you and a lot of uncertainty. I mean, it was just a few weeks ago that I was having like a super rough day and I was like crying on the phone with my friend. Like, it's a tough road. It's just a tough road. So yeah. So I do my best to like ebb and flow with it. That's why I want to feel more compassion toward myself. So as things go, like just because I'm having a really great week this week doesn't mean my life is perfect and doesn't mean every single day from here on out. I mean, knock on wood, maybe like every single day is going to be epic from here on out. But yeah.
Yeah, and I want to say that this is like what all entrepreneurs go through, like the emotional roller coaster. Like, I keep hearing people, you're so lucky, you work for yourself, you wake up whatever time you want, you go vacations, unlimited vacations, and they don't understand that this is not really the case.
Yeah.
It might seem, it has some benefits being an entrepreneur, but yeah, it's a little bit rough. Yeah, exactly as you said. And the thing is that you cannot, I don't know if that's your case, but you cannot relate easily with other people that have not been entrepreneurs.
Yeah, it's true. And I have so much empathy for people who are in relationships and one person's an entrepreneur and the other person isn't. It is a very hard lifestyle to understand. Even the cultural dynamics of being an entrepreneur versus an employee are completely different. Sometimes I notice in the employee culture, if you don't have the right work atmosphere behind you, the right leadership team, it's a very like, let me claim my ground, and you know, which feeds into a lack of collaboration. One of my favorite entrepreneurs in the world, it's not an LA tech company, but he's amazing. Kim, he created a company called Blind for authentic, anonymous conversation to help one another.
Yeah.
Oh my God, do I love Kim. He's just like an amazing human. So it's like, if all leaders could be like him, the world would be a better place.
But then it would be boring. As we said, you need the crappy people.
I'd like that kind of boring.
But you need the yin and yang. You need the good and evil to start.
Maybe so. I think there needs to be more good in the world. And I like to be an example that it's okay to be kind. It's okay to be collaborative. It's okay to elevate others. There's enough abundance for everybody. And even though we all experience those like egotistical moments or those moments of coming from a place of lack, in reality, I'd like to believe in a world where there's enough for all of us to win.
Do you believe in luck?
I believe in mindset. For example, I have amazing travel luck. And the thing that also about travel is that I'm extremely positive about it. I have no concerns. I'm constantly visioning good things. And so sometimes I wonder, is it really luck or is it my mindset that creates the outcome? And in business, as most entrepreneurs, there are so many days of uncertainty and like a lack of confidence or questioning, or like at least for me, I'm not always picturing a win. Whereas in travel, I'm really always picturing everything. If I'm late to the airport, I'll still make the plane. Like everything is just always a win. And I do always make the plane. It always works out. And I'm just like, that's wild. And I wonder sometimes if I had the same mindset about travel the way I do, if I had the same mindset of entrepreneurship the way I do about travel, I wonder how my outcomes would change.
Do you believe in vision, like imagining things in a positive way, and at the end of the day, this might happen?
I do. So like I won The Price is Right, and it's a game show that's popular. And the way I won The Price is Right, I remember it was during a period of my life where I was going through a really hard time, and I read this Tony Robbins thing that said this woman envisioned winning the lottery, and he thought she was crazy, but then she won the lottery, so he makes sure not to question anything. I'm like, man, if she could do it, so can I. So I started envisioning me winning the Price is Right. I didn't even know how to get on the Price is Right. Started envisioning me winning, and so I created the winning dance, and I would do this winning dance like in my living room all the time. I remember my friend Vinny called me. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm winning the Price is Right. I'm doing the winning dance," and then I was able to secure audience tickets to The Price is Right. And everywhere I went, when I got there with a couple of my friends, I was like, "Want to see my winning dance?" I kept doing in line, winning dance, winning dance, winning dance. And then when I got called, I couldn't even believe it. Like my friends were like, "They called your name." I'm like, "What? This actually worked. This is insane." And I go to the front, and like down there, I'm like doing the winning dance. And when I finally got the whatever it's called at the bottom in order to get up on stage, Drew Carey's like, "No, you could do your winning dance," and it was like so exciting. So I do think Tony Robbins I think Tony Robbins, says a lot of positive things in the world. Like I'm not a follower, but like I pay attention. I watch the documentary, and one of the things is like creating that energy, I don't know what he calls it, but he does this, I think a thing in the morning where people do a breathing, whatever, creating an energy of what you want. So I do believe in creating that energy. I did do affirmations for a long time. I'm not so into affirmations. I don't totally believe in them. Maybe I'm wrong, but at least for me, right? So I believe in creating an energy, but I also believe in not being attached. Like for example, like becoming the face of Clubhouse in the last 24 hours, it's such a strange feeling to like be so much more known so fast. And like, I didn't know what to do with all the emotions. I'm like, I haven't changed, but like things feel changed. And I'm like, this is just like bizarre. Like, it's like, oh my God, oh my God, I had all these like pangs in social media, right? And when I woke up this morning, I'm like, what does this mean to me? And I'm like, you know what? I'm the exact same person with a strong sense of purpose. How am I going to use this opportunity to champion other people? Because that's what matters. It doesn't matter if this like goes away in a day or if it stays for or like if it gives me clout or whatever it gives me. What matters is am I continuing to serve the purpose? So it's not the picture that matters. It's the energy that gives off that you're able to still serve the meaning of the picture. Anyway, so yeah, so I wrote, I'm going to keep it on the DL, but I wrote something. I was like, I think it'd be so cool if I was able to celebrate people in this way by utilizing this. I haven't heard, I literally sent it before I came here. So we'll see what happens. But I think with all of that, like as we go through our journeys in life and as we think about, especially in the digital world, clout or money as an entrepreneur and profit and status, just all these things, who cares? Like what matters is like, are you truly doing something meaningful with your life that is creating a positive impact for others, whether it be through the medical space or the humanitarian space or me and with my community? Like that's what matters, not necessarily quote unquote the moments of glory. The moments of glory are cool indicators from the universe, like great job, you're going in the right direction, but they're not what actually matters. What matters is the spirit and the work behind it. Yeah, does that make sense?
Of course, and the moments of glory, like you will be happy today, maybe tomorrow, maybe for a whole week. That's it.
Right. Yeah.
Just the
like this
stand.
Right now, like this is really cool. You and I have these two amazing sounding microphones and like this whole lighting setup around us. And it's such a cool experience and opportunity with this gorgeous view of Venice Beach in the Red Bull room, all these like cool things happening. It feels very exciting. But what actually matters is like when this comes out, is this interview going to be able to help someone watching? It like, how is this going to compound, to scale itself so that it helps more people? And that's why I show up to everything that I do.
But we haven't seen the winning dance. We need to see the...
You want me to get up and do the winning dance? Aren't I going to set everybody off? Like, I don't know if the cameras are set up for me standing up, but I'm happy to do it.
Yeah, I think you could do it there. Yeah, the same you could do it with this camera. Yeah,
all right, you want me to do it right now?
Of course, like you talked about the winning dance. We have to do it. Yeah,
my mom's going to love you.
Of course.
Gotta get... Wait, what is this?
Of course. Yeah, sorry. I have also to stand up. Yeah.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Put your hands up in the air.
Perfect.
And then you go like this. Woo! It's the winning dance. Okay. Oh my my gosh. And that's what I did on The Price is Right with Drew Carey.
Nice.
Yeah.
We had to see the dance. Like,
oh, of course. My mom loves it. I remember I was in Latvia. I was speaking at Digital Freedom Fest, and I had all these, it's like a colder culture over there in Europe. And I get up on stage and I'm like, are you ready? And they're like, who is this American girl? And I had the whole audience of like this colder culture doing the winning dance.
What?
It was amazing. Yeah. I am the cheese ball American girl whenever I go abroad.
So you did the dance, you won, you said, okay, this thing works. If I believe things, if I start envisioning things, maybe kind of work, and you kept doing it, I assume. Yeah.
But I mean, I've known that I was an entrepreneur since I was 4 years old with my dad walking into Westwood Village. Like for me, being an entrepreneur is on a cellular level. So, when I create, like the reason why I created WeAreLATech is because I had a vision that I didn't want people to experience the pain that I went through. I wanted a collaborative community. The reason I created the Women in Tech podcast is because I wanted examples of what's possible, right? I recently created the Brag podcast, Business Women Reaching Awe-Inspiring Greatness, because I think as a community of women, we don't brag enough. So I pretty much just like identify where I see something's missing in an ethos, and then I just want to be a solution to that.
What do you think about bragging? Because it's a very controversial. Some people say like, you shouldn't brag, you should be like, down to earth and everything. Just for the record, I'm exactly the opposite. Like, I believe like, if you are good, you need to communicate it, because that's how you inspire other people. If you're like, like the person that's there and maybe sometimes come up and say, hey, I did this, people won't take attention. Like they would just hear about, that was very good, very inspiring, and what have you. I definitely prefer going out there and being like, I don't know, attention whore or whatever, because you need to be there. You need to be out there. You need to do it.
I think bragging is interesting. It's the way that you do it. I think it's important to be confident about sharing our wins, but it's also a way to do it that we're still relatable and accessible, and we're not better than anyone else. I'm really inspired by a woman. She's a CMO of Netflix. She goes by Badass Boz, and she talks about how she loves bragging about her friends. And I love the way that she brags, because she seems so, I don't know her personally, I'm just a fan and admire her. She seems so celebratory of others in her sharing. It's about being an example that we can be strong too. It's not about elevating her own ego, at least not for me. It's about let me show you that you're worth it.
Of course.
Yeah.
But it's needed, because especially in Europe, if you brag, like it's...
Oh yeah, it's very American to talk about ourselves.
But you have to talk, you have to promote, at least you promote yourself so other people know about what you did and get inspired. Yeah. If nobody talks about it, like who cares? Go and work in a university. Nobody cares. You understand what I'm trying to say? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Good times. Last question, I think, because the guys are doing me 5 minutes, 3 minutes. So
they're doing the wedding dance?
From now on, we're doing the wedding dance whenever the time goes by. So if you could build any product out there, right? Any product before, let's say you travel back in time before Facebook started or whatever, and you have the idea of Facebook. Okay, so let's say you go back in time. Yeah. Which is a product that you would build that you would love and you would make?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't want the responsibility of Facebook, so that wouldn't be it.
Of course,
Man, I've never thought about it before.
Something that an app that you see and you're like, this is really good. Very nice app.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not just saying this to be sassy. Like, I really just want to be me. Whatever I end up building is what I want to build. And I don't know what that will be. I would do my exact same story exactly as I've done it. So I don't know. I don't think I would take on someone else. Even with all the pain and lows, I like my own journey.
Interesting. And for the record, almost everybody in the show, they're like, I don't know, this is a question that I should have thought a little bit earlier. But it's interesting seeing how people respond to their favorite applications, if they had a favorite application. Actually, I have one more question. What is the first thing you do in the morning? Like literally, your eyes open up. What is the first thing you do?
On a good day, the first thing I do is go do Headspace right away.
Do you check Instagram?
So that's what I try not to do. So on some days I do that, but I try to be one of those people that does my best not to do that all the time.
They don't exist. These people don't exist. Everybody checks his phone. So like, yeah.
Like sometimes, but like I do little things. Like I have a lock for my phones. I'll put them in a lockbox. I have a phone just with no work on it. And so like I'll bring that one into the bedroom and that one will have Headspace on it, right? So they will have no social, nothing, just the apps I need. So yeah, I think on a good day, it would be Headspace meditation app. And then on bad days, it would be when I'm tired and I don't take care of myself and, I'm checking things right away for whatever reason, which I don't think is a good way to start the day.
Yeah, I agree.
I think everybody needs to make their bed in the morning. It makes the whole day better.
I know. Yeah. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. But yeah, just to, to have, I cannot have epic days every day. I want to have some bad days, for the contrast. So yeah.
I will give you all my bad days. I want no more of them.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, Giannis, this has been amazing. Like, thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of this experience. I mean, this has been absolutely incredible. Your team is incredible. Like, this is like fun. And I'm so happy we got to incorporate Red Bull into it.
Oh yeah. And whatever you said is amazing. We'll try also to create, a list of things to do, things not to do and everything, because we have to.
We got to.
Yeah. And I want to thank you guys that you're watching, and thank you guys that you're behind the cameras and taking photos and doing everything possible. I'm just here talking to this microphone, so you guys make it happen. And you're watching now at home or at work, or hopefully not at work. So wherever you're watching, thank you again. Thank you, Hotel Erwin, for giving us the Red Bull Suite. I cannot talk today, I don't know. And if you're watching, you have 30% discount to rent any room here, not only the Red Bull Suite, even though you can rent it, right? Yeah, you can rent it, yeah. So 30% off if you're watching us. I don't know if it's going to be forever. Probably we're going to update it on the description. Thank you, of course, Red Bull. Thank you, everyone, and have an epic and awesome day. We'll also include the Twitter, Instagram, every social media.
At Espree Devora or at WeAreLATech. I'm on both.
Perfect. So you heard it here. Have a great day. See you all cameras. Bye.